You may call your next witness.
Thank you. The state will then call Adam Bone Steel.
Good morning, Mr. Bonesteel. If you would please make your way to the witness stand, which is to my right. It is up a riser. When you get there, please remain standing, raise your right hand, and my clerk, Teresa, who's on my left across from you, will swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Please have a seat. The first thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record and then spell each.
First name is Adam. Last name is Bonesteel. Adambonestel.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Thank you. Mr. Bonesteel, thank you for being here this morning, sir. I want to ask you about the events of November 21 of 2021, okay?
Yes.
Were you participating in the Waukesha Christmas parade that afternoon, sir?
Yes.
And what was your role in the parade?
I was driving the float for Citizens Bank.
And your wife Stephanie works for the bank, is that right?
Yes, I was volunteering with her and the rest of the family.
Right. And you said you were driving the float, is that right?
That is correct.
Were you driving a vehicle pulling a trailer with the float on it, or?
I was driving a Suburban pulling the trailer.
Okay. So you have a full-size Chevy Suburban?
Yes.
Which is like a large SUV?
2019.
Full-size SUV?
Yes.
Okay.
Overruled. His answer may stand.
And the float was on a trailer behind you?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know about how long the trailer was, or the approximate size?
12 by, I would say, 8 feet by 12 feet.
Okay. Now, when the parade started out, were you alone in the car?
No.
Who was with you?
I had a 6-year-old daughter of one of the employees with me. She was in the passenger seat.
Okay. And other than that, you were alone in your car with her?
Her and I were in the vehicle, just us two.
Okay. Were you playing any loud music as part of your group's presentation?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Do you remember if you had the windows on your vehicle up or down?
The window on my side, driver's side window was down. On her side, it was slightly down.
Okay. And do you remember during the parade something unusual that your attention was drawn toward?
Objection.
Overruled. You may answer, sir.
Along the route,
Yes.
yes. It would be important to note that the groups got spread out.
Okay.
And it happens in parades where one's going faster and the others are going slower, and we got left kind of in the middle. We had a lot more people, walking. And so there was a gap. The dance crew behind us was a good half a block behind us. The dancing grannies in front of us were about another half a block in front of us.
Okay.
Driving in the parade, I generally, want to know where my walkers are, so I'm always in my mirrors, watching my speed. They come up, they grab candy off the trailer to throw to the crowd. So, you have to be very alert.
Okay. Now, you've driven in parades before.
Yes.
Because you're a good husband.
Yes.
Okay. And
Overruled.
the...
Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you say that... Consistent with your practice, did you do that in this float? You're constantly aware of what your surroundings were. And people walking with your group.
Yes.
The people ahead of you and the people behind you as well.
Correct.
Okay. Do you know downtown Waukesha pretty good or okay or?
No.
Not very good at all?
No.
Okay. Do you know the parade route?
I did know the route, but I couldn't tell you cross streets. I can't tell you, those specifics.
Sure. Do you know where you were along the route when the trouble happened?
Well, I know the landmark would be the nice ash bar that was basically right. We were in front of where we were in that block when things transpired, just because they took us in when businesses were locking down. My vehicle got basically blocked in by emergency vehicles.
Okay.
I was not able to leave.
Sure.
And, when everything was going on, they basically took our group in. I started packing up, like I could leave, getting the float packed up and just wanting to get my family home.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where police officers came by as they were taping off the area and said, "You can't be here."
Okay.
So my vehicle ended up staying there overnight.
Okay. So let's go back to the point where you noticed something was going on in the parade.
So, we had started, the parade route had gotten, with our groups kind of separated. I noticed when I had looked out my driver's side mirror that I saw headlights behind me, and I remember thinking briefly, what's the dance guy doing behind me? Why is he so far off to the left?
Okay.
Basically, when that thought was over, I heard the roar of an engine, and I was watching in my side mirror and saw a woman running kind of towards the corner of my vehicle, the back corner, in between, let's say by the tongue of the trailer, and we're trying to get to that point of my vehicle.
Okay.
And then saw the impact and heard it, as well as the roar of an engine.
Okay. Let's just break that down a little bit, okay? So first you notice the headlights, then you hear the engine, and you see a person running. Did you know who it was at that instant?
No.
Okay.
I had no idea who the person was.
Could you tell it was a member of your group?
Yes.
How could you tell that?
They had the red cloaks on.
Okay. So then you said you heard something?
Oh, yeah, I heard and saw the impact.
Tell us about
If you
that,
ever
please.
heard a car hit another car or an abutment or a deer, if anybody's ever hit a deer with their car, you've heard it. I watched the body fly up onto the hood, and her head snapped back, and the body remained on the hood as it passed the side of my vehicle to where I thought I could have just reached out and grabbed her.
So this happened that close to you?
Yes.
You saw all this with your own two eyes?
Yes.
Did the car continue past you?
Yes.
Where did it go?
The car veered kind of in front of me. I saw brake lights and saw what was Jane fall off the hood. He proceeded to, and she was basically on the right side of his vehicle, and he proceeded to run her over with the right front tire, then the right rear tire. And at that point, I was just focused on the body on the ground, but I remember hearing the roar of the engine again. And
how fast were you going?
2 miles an hour.
How fast would you estimate the other vehicle was going?
30.
Did you get a description of that other car?
It was red.
That's all you know?
Like a box type back end.
Okay.
That's all I know. That's all. I thought my wife was the woman on the car. So you see your whole life going by you, in what you think is an act of terror because you don't know what's going on. And then a body's laying on the ground. And, at that point, that was my only focus. My vehicle, I threw it in park and ran to decipher if this was really who I think it is.
Okay.
Details of which direction the vehicle went after that, I cannot tell you. I'm sorry. It was tunnel vision right to the ground.
Of course. You do distinctly remember, though, seeing the red vehicle that you've described roll over the person on the ground?
Yes.
With both tires?
Yes.
I'll show you an item that's been marked as Exhibit 46, please. And we're going to put it up for you first and have you take a look at it. So, is it up on your screen, sir?
Yep.
And right now, the video is not playing. It's frozen on the first frame. Do you see that?
Yep.
Do you recognize what you're looking at here, sir?
Yep.
What are you looking at?
It appears to be Jane on the ground.
Is that what she looked like when you ran up to her?
She was on her side, face down, yeah.
I'm going to ask
Those are the pants, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to have my assistant play this video through for you. It's a total length of 15 seconds, okay?
Yes.
I want you to watch it, and then I'll have some questions for you, okay?
Bank robbery! Starting January 3rd, the Rookie moves to Tuesdays, and they're teaming up with the feds for an action-packed crossover event.
This suspect is extremely dangerous.
The Rookie crossover event starts Tuesday, 8, 7 Central on ABC.
Try new Super Blends Plus Vitamins. Twinings, drinking life.
Okay. Mr. Bonesteel, did you see yourself in that video?
Yes, I did.
Do you believe this video is a true and accurate representation of the events as you ran up to Jane on the street? Move to admit 46 and permission to publish, Your Honor.
Objection.
Exhibit 46 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
My objection be noted for the record, Your Honor.
It's noted.
All right. So, Mr. Bonesteel, in this frame, I don't see you in this frame yet, correct?
That's correct.
But we do see Jane laying there on the road, correct?
That's correct.
She's got the red top and the black plaid pants. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and play it all the way through, 15 seconds at normal speed. That's you right there in the khaki pants at the 6-second mark?
That is correct. Black sweatshirt.
That's you right there at the end. Sunglasses on your head? Okay.
Was that a yes?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Thank you, sir.
Do you know if medical assistance was provided to Jane?
I do not.
What happened?
Once I realized that it wasn't Steph, I ran back to find her and the kids. And I found them back by the vehicle.
Okay.
After I had found them, my next thought was, oh my God, Addison's behind us. That's my daughter's good friend. And another friend was also there. And I ran back to find her.
With the extreme dance group?
Yes.
Okay. Did you find those girls?
I found Addison. Sam had been struck.
What's Sam's last name?
Coelho.
Okay.
I asked Addison if she wanted to come with us. Her mother was actually waiting at the end of the parade route, so she was en route to get her. But then I went back to my family and the rest of the group that we were in the parade with, and at that point the Nice Ash Bar was taking them in.
Okay.
And then I was just focused on getting out of there.
Yeah.
Which didn't happen.
Did you learn later that Jane passed away due to her injuries from this collision?
We did learn that later. My gut feeling in that was that she had passed.
You mean when you went up and saw her?
Yes.
if you felt she was either dead or close to death?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. I don't have any other questions for you.
All right, Mr. Brooks, do you have any questions for this witness?
I do. Whew. I apologize. I just needed a quick second. Whew. At some point in your testimony, you stated that you heard, or rather you saw, brake lights. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, I did.
To the best of your knowledge, what would be the only time you would see brake lights on a vehicle?
The point right before Jane fell off the hood.
I think you misunderstood my question. If you were driving a vehicle, would it be fair to say that the only time anyone would see brake lights would be if you hit the brake?
If the driver hit the brakes, the brake lights would go on the vehicle.
So it would be fair to say that the only way that you would see brake lights would be if the driver of the vehicle hit the brakes.
That would be correct.
You did state in your testimony that you did not get a look at the driver. Would that be fair to say?
That was never part of my testimony. Nobody had asked me that question. Are you asking me that question if I had seen the driver?
I do recall you saying that you did not see the driver, so I guess that's...
In my testimony?
Yes.
Oh.
Hold on. He's going to ask you a question, and I'm going to ask that you answer that, okay?
Okay.
So go ahead, ask your question.
Did you at any time see the driver of the vehicle?
No.
You did testify to, when you were describing what you saw, you referred to the driver as he. Any reason why you would refer to the driver as he if you did not see the driver of the vehicle?
That would be like the proverbial we.
Well, there's males, there's females.
There are singles and there are togethers. I mean, when you say we, it's the proverbial we.
So
collectively, he would be along those lines as well.
is it fair to say that you could have just answered as we instead of he?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained. Next question, sir.
Matter grounds on that?
It's argumentative. Rephrase your question.
Any reason why you would answer that question as he?
Objection. Irrelevant. Argumentative.
Grounds.
Asked and answered. Sustained.
Were you able to get a license plate of the vehicle?
No, I was not. I was focused, like I had said, on the body on the ground. So I did not get the license plate.
After the vehicle had passed the vehicle that you were in, did you see the vehicle strike anyone after that point?
I did not see the vehicle strike anyone after the vehicle had passed me, other than driving over, like I had stated, the body that it had already struck.
Did you observe the vehicle strike anyone while it was approaching your position?
Clarify your question, please.
Did you observe the vehicle strike anyone while it was approaching your position?
Yes, I saw it hit Jane.
While it was approaching you?
While it was coming
or
up.
Your vehicle, rather?
Yes.
Did you observe the vehicle strike anyone else in that moment?
Hey, what's up? It's the People Shark here, Damon John. Now, I'm going to give you a tip that I have never shared with anyone before. My tips are usually about business, but this tip is about how to create the wow factor in your home. And nearly every person that comes into my home comments about how amazing it smells. Honestly, it's all thanks to Aroma 360 scent diffusers. You see, my family and I, we feel like we live in a luxurious hotel every day.
The best part is that the scents are healthy for our daughter and our pets. We currently use Aroma 360, Mini 360, and I love how evenly it scents our space.
I mean, think about it. It's been over 2 years, and still the first thing anyone notices when they walk through the doors of our home is how amazing it smells. I highly recommend that you go directly to aroma360.com to get yours today. They have over 60 different essential scents that you can try out, and I am confident that you're going to find the one you want.
No, just Jane.
And you said you went into a building called the Nice Ash after that moment?
That is correct.
Do you recall about how long you were in the Nice Ash?
Hour and a half maybe. I would pop in and out because I was trying to wrap up the float and get us out of there. And then once I was told that I cannot touch my vehicle nor the float anymore because the area was deemed a crime scene, we went back in and made a plan on how we were going to get all of us home and then proceeded to leave. But businesses, I believe, were locked down, so no one could get in or out. They were locking their doors. Every time I went out, they would ask me, knock on the door, because we're locking it.
Do you recall about what time it was at that moment?
No. These are thoughts that you don't think about when you've been through something like this. I didn't sit there and note down times. I'm not trained in this.
Do you recall if it was still daytime or nighttime?
The parade started around 4:30, so it gets, and it was cloudy, so it was dusk. I mean, city lights were on. Emergencies vehicles, when they were pulling up, you saw the sirens, on the streets. You saw it was dusk. It was getting dark.
Would it be fair to say from the Exhibit 46 video that you were shown that it was pretty clear?
Again, wasn't focusing on the sky.
Do you agree or disagree? The video that you saw was clear. That was the question.
The video, the clarity of the video, or the skies? Please clarify.
That it was pretty much still daytime. You can see everything pretty clear. Everything was.
You can see. Yes, it was clear. It was dusk. Lights were coming on. If the city lights, street lights were coming on.
Would it be fair to say you can recall lights coming on, but not the driver of the vehicle?
I think that's asked and answered, Your Honor.
Objection. Grounds.
Overruled. He may answer.
I can remember lights coming on because they are stationary. The vehicle was traveling past me at a rate of speed with a woman that I thought was my wife on the vehicle. Was not really paying attention to who was driving the vehicle. Again.
So would it be fair to say you were paying attention to the lights?
No.
So what would lead you to believe that they were in fact coming on at that time?
Objection. Argumentative. Asked and answered.
The video that
Hold on. There's an objection. I have to rule on it first. That's okay. The objection is sustained. Next question, sir.
Do you recall the duration of time that you saw the brake lights?
No, I do not.
But you did, in fact, see brake lights?
Correct.
No further questions.
Any redirect?
Yes, briefly. Sir, after you saw brake lights, did you see the SUV or the red vehicle that you described ever come to a complete stop?
No.
Objection.
Did you?
Well, there's been an objection. It's overruled. His answer may stand.
Did you at any time see the driver of the vehicle pull over, stop, and get out to investigate what he or she had just struck?
Objection.
Overruled.
No.
Did you ever see the vehicle come to a complete stop at any time?
Objection, asked and answered.
Sustained.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You may step down. Statement called. Next witness.
The state would call Heather Rashadi.
The state would call Surge, the state would call Matt Harris.
Matt Harris? All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Harris, thank you for making your way up to the... When you get there, please remain standing. Raise your right hand. My clerk, Teresa, will swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Please have a seat. First thing I will have you do is to state your first and last names for the record and then spell each.
Matthew Harris, Matthew Harris.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Thank you. Mr. Harris, I'm going to draw your attention to November 21st, 2021. Were you at the Waukesha Christmas Parade on that date?
I was.
Okay. And were you a spectator? Were you a participant?
Spectator.
Who were you with?
There was a large group of friends and some family in that group.
Okay. So did you bring your family?
I brought my 2 daughters.
Okay. And was your wife there?
My wife was not there.
Okay. And how about just generally, approximately how many people were with your group?
I think our group had about 19 or 20 between kids and adults.
And where were you sitting or standing to view the parade?
We were right on the corner of Main Street and Clinton, right in front of the Steaming Cup.
Okay. I'm going to show you State's Exhibit number 51. It's going to display in the front of you on your screen. If you can just let me know when it's displayed in front of you.
Yes.
Does that accurately depict the corner that you were at to watch the Christmas parade?
It does.
I would ask the court to admit it into evidence and to publish it to the jury.
What is the relevancy of this particular exhibit?
Overruled. Exhibit, I'm sorry, can I have the number again? Is it 51?
51.
Exhibit 51 is receipt. Permission to publish is granted.
Sir, the screen in front of you is a touch screen, so can you kind of put in maybe a circle around the area that the 19 people that you were with kind of encompassed?
Pretty much this whole corner.
Okay. And were you standing, sitting?
Standing.
Was everyone standing?
Everyone was standing.
And there's a curb. Were you guys up on the curb and the bump out, or were any of the people that were watching with your group in the street?
Most of the children were sort of in the front area on the curb and out into the street, and most of the adults had sort of huddled behind.
Okay. I'm assuming that the purpose is candy's handed out, so the kids got it first?
Sure, correct.
Okay. And where were you, if you look at that circle, were you, as we're looking at the diagram, towards the right of that circle, which would be east, or were you to the left of the circle, which would be west?
I know I'm drawing on this a lot. Probably right here in the back, towards right in the middle.
And how about your kids?
Right out here in the front.
Thank you. And were there other people, as you were standing looking at the street, which way is the parade coming? Is it coming from, as you're looking at the street, your left down to your right? If you draw an arrow.
Right, yeah, sure.
Thanks. And what, approximately what time did you get there, do you know?
Most of us had just come from a soccer game in Brookfield, so I think we got there probably right before it started, 3:45, 3:50. I believe it started at 4.
So again, there were there a lot of people in to the right and to the left of you, spectators?
It was pretty packed, correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. At some point, and we can take this exhibit down, at some point did you hear some type of commotion?
I did.
Do you know where in the parade route, like what floats had just gone through or what floats were in front of you? Did you? Yeah,
I didn't recall at the time what float was about to come in front of us, but I do know that the Dancing Grannies had just passed us.
Okay.
And then that's when I heard the commotion, an audible gasp. There was a large vehicle kind of blocking our view of what was coming, kind of obscured anything, and then that's when I saw a red SUV from the north side come around in front of that vehicle. It headed straight for that corner where our children were, so it was kind of coming dead on at us. And then at the last second kind of clipped that corner and then veered off, and I saw it continue on into the Dancing Grannies group.
So as you were looking to your left, which would be, and I'm horrible at directions, it would be to the east. As you were looking there, when you said you heard a gasp?
Yeah, like an audible gasp, commotion, just an eerie sound of not parade sounds, just a loud, like, draws your attention to something is going on, but we couldn't see because, again, there was a large vehicle right there.
And I'm assuming the large vehicle that you're describing was part of the parade?
Correct.
Approximately how far to your left, as you're looking at the parade, was the vehicle when you first saw it, the red SUV that you've described?
Hold on, there's been an objection. I was mid-question, so if you could just re-ask it, I didn't hear it all.
Approximately how far from your position was the red SUV when you first saw it?
It would have been.
Oh.
There's been no objection to that, so he may answer.
Okay.
It would have been on I believe that's the south side of the street, so maybe 30 feet.
So you first saw it approximately 30 feet to your left, and it would have been on the opposite side of the road from where you were seated.
Yeah, just on the other side of the large vehicle, that Suburban that was there.
So on the driver's side or the passenger
Driver's
side?
side.
Thank you.
Everybody down! Bank robbery! Starting January 3rd, the Rookie moves to Tuesdays, and they're teaming up with the feds for an action.
So the vehicle comes on the driver's side of that car that was in the parade. What do you see next?
I saw it come along the side of it, and then once it cleared that vehicle, it made it which would have been a right-hand turn right towards our corner. I remember having a split second of what is going on, and then I remember screaming, "Get back," because all of our children were right there. It came through, it veered off, and my immediate thought was he hit something in the front there and then continued off. I would say the parents, mostly the dads, kind of ran up there and kind of check on the children, and I recall at that moment, after a second pause, looking down the road to see where it was going. My immediate thought was to kind of run after it, and then I realized I had an injured child and a 3-year-old as well that was there. I distinctly remember seeing 2 victims laying in the street, and then I looked up the other way where I had come, and I saw a woman with plaid pajamas lying in the street up the road, and that's when I grabbed my daughter and grabbed her to pull her back.
So when you said that you looked to your right and you saw 2 other people in the roadway, were they from your group or were they from a different group?
This was after probably 3 to 4 seconds in duration. It was advanced up into the Dancing Grannies group that had just passed us.
Could you tell the path of travel as you said it was heading towards your corner and then it veered away? Do you recall, can you describe that?
Yeah, it veered away and then headed right back, continued down Main Street, seemingly right down the middle of the road.
Okay. And did you see it impact the grannies, or
I
did
did
you
not.
just see bodies after the car went through them?
The victims on the ground.
Sure, do me a favor. Try to wait until she's fully asked the question. I know it can be a little nerve-wracking, just so that the record is clear.
You bet.
Thank you so much.
Sir, how old are the children, your children that were at the parade?
My children at the time was 7, and my youngest was 3.
And you indicated, if I can have Exhibit 51 back up. Again, if you can put an X approximately where you were standing.
I believe I was standing sort of right back there a little bit on the sidewalk.
Okay. And your 7-year-old was approximately where? And your 3-year-old?
She had just come back by me a few minutes prior, so she was back by me.
She was up on the curb.
Correct.
And the path of travel as the vehicle came towards you, can you put an arrow approximately where you think it was veering from and where it was going towards?
Objection, speculative.
Overruled.
I believe it was coming right at us and then quickly went that way.
Okay, thank you. Were you able to estimate how fast the car was going?
Fast.
Wow, look at the island. You can find 5 of them. I can.
Faster than normal speed limit on that road, I would say 25 to 30 miles per hour.
Okay. Did you hear a horn honking prior to it coming up on your group?
I did not.
Did the vehicle stop? Strike that. Were any people that were with your group injured?
Yes.
Who was injured?
My daughter, my 7-year-old daughter, had her foot ran over, her left foot, broke 4 toes, and also her tibia and fibula in her leg. And then there was another friend of ours, younger daughter, who was next to her. I believe she got sideswiped from the vehicle with some face damage. Sorry.
And what was that that girl's last name?
Knapp.
Knapp?
Correct.
And your 7-year-old, what is her name?
Brinley.
Brinley?
Correct.
Okay. Did you said that there was something with her tibia and
Fibula, correct.
Fibula. Were they broken?
They were broken. Yes, sorry, they were broken.
Sorry. What did you do?
At that moment?
Right after the car went past your daughter?
So we leaped up. My daughter was crying. Many of the children were crying. We were trying to triage through and just seeing who was injured, and because it came that close. And again, I had looked down, kind of just assessed the situation a little bit. I had grabbed my daughter, had set her back on the curb a little bit, grabbed my oldest daughter, with the injuries. I grabbed my 3-year-old and set them there as well. And then at some point, a few moments later, got them. The other parents were lining up the children on the side of Clinton Street, on the side of the steaming cup, over in this area. So we eventually moved the kids back there.
Did you take Brinley that evening for medical care?
I did not.
Okay. How did you know that she had broken toes?
So there's a couple variables that came into play there. We did not know at the moment. I knew that she had a foot injury, and I did the typical dad thing, and I downplayed the initial injury. I carried her to the car. At the time of walking to the car, as a leader at Pro Healthcare where I work, I got an alert that the hospital was on lockdown. So my initial thought was to take her up to the hospital myself. Her acuity versus other victims laying in the road didn't warrant her waiting for an ambulance, that I could take her. At that time, when I got the lockdown notice on my phone, I decided to call my wife, who is a nurse practitioner in urgent care at the time, and I said, you're going to want to check this out. She was almost done with her shift anyways. We lived 15 minutes from the house, so we kind of convened there. She looked at it and decided to take her in at that moment.
So what foot was run over?
Her left foot.
When she, after the car drove over her foot, did she still have her shoe on?
She had, no, both shoes had come off somehow, but we lost one eventually, and then the other one, we found one.
Were you able to look at specifically the left shoe after the car went past?
I was.
Overruled. You may answer.
I did see the shoe later on. I think it was the next morning when we kind of had a chance to collect ourselves, and I recall seeing a tread mark across her shoes.
Would that be consistent with the tire mark?
It would be.
So the right shoe was unable to be located that night, correct?
Correct.
And the left shoe you did find, and that's what you took home with you?
Correct.
The realities of modern life make it tougher than ever to maintain a healthy diet. AG1 gives you high-quality daily nutrition that helps fill nutrient gaps and powers your everyday performance. Subscribe now at athleticgreens.com/YouTube.
If you want to be healthier, you've got to get Kachava.
I started Kachava a month ago because I was eating poorly and I knew I could do better.
I'm really conscious about my nutrition, and Kachava makes my life so much easier.
I love how I get all these great superfoods that would be impossible to gather myself.
Kachava is my secret for staying healthy.
It really helps control my craving, so I don't eat junk anymore.
It's the perfect meal replacement. You don't want to make regrettable food choices when you're doing so well.
I use Kachava once a day for breakfast or lunch, and I feel great.
I've tried every shake out there, and Kachava is hands down the best.
I highly recommend Kachava if you're
Now, you said that at the time you didn't feel that your daughter should be taken by ambulance because of what you were seeing. Can you describe to the jury what you were seeing?
Just mass chaos. Nothing like I'm a combat veteran. I've been around mass hysteria most of my career, and I had never seen anything like this in such a safe environment where it was just hysteria, screams, sirens everywhere, just and unknowing, are there other vehicles coming down? Like what is actually going on here? So it was just an odd, eerie feeling for a very long period there.
And you would indicate you had seen a woman with plaid pants.
It seemed like pajama pants. Correct.
Okay. To the left of you.
Correct.
And did you see her being treated?
I saw many individuals standing around her. I know that one of the parents in our group is a physician. I believe she went on to render aid somewhere. I don't know if it was her or not, but I remember seeing a large presence around that woman.
And then, did you see any bodies to the right of your position?
Yes, that's where I saw two within, which would have been part of the dancing granny group. I don't know if they were the grannies or not at the time. I just knew that there were two people laying on the ground.
So I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 15. And I'm just going to have it viewed in front of you initially. Do you recognize generally this map?
I do.
And do you see the position that you and your family were on November 21st of last year?
I do.
And do you see your daughter's name in a box that's above the word steaming cup?
I do.
And it's connected to a star that's orange in color?
Correct.
Is that the approximate location of where you and your family were when your daughter was run over?
That
your foot
is.
was run over? May I publish it to the jury? It's previously been admitted.
You may.
Again, showing the jury State's Exhibit 15, if you can circle the orange star that's associated with where your daughter was struck. Thank you. And the approximate location that you observed the woman to your left?
Objection.
Overruled. You may answer.
And to your right? Next, I want to show you what has been...
Before you move on, I just want the record to reflect, because it wasn't screen captured, that the stars that he circled on Exhibit 15...
Actually, sir, before, so we can capture it, can you again circle the area where you and your family were?
Objection already.
Overruled. He may do it again since it was cleared before we captured it.
And then the area where you saw a body down on the ground to your left? Plaid pants. And that's, you indicate that she had plaid pants, or it was a woman who had plaid pants?
Plaid, looked like pajama pants.
Okay.
Correct.
Do you recall what else she was wearing?
I don't.
Okay. And then to your right? Okay. And that would be the circles, if we can save that and mark it as 15. Okay.
I think we're on B as well. It'll be marked as Exhibit B.
Thank you.
Sorry, 15B.
And where you marked the circle to your left, that was associated with the same place where there's a name Jane Kulik?
Yes.
Overruled.
And where you circled to the right, there are 7 different names under dancing grannies. Is that fair?
Objection.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes.
Thank you. And there are 7 different names under dancing grannies. Is that fair?
Objection.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part that you said, Mr. Brooks. Are you withdrawing that?
No, I'm not.
What did you say then?
I said it's pretty obvious from the picture. It's leading the witness
All right, your objections noted. It's overruled. His answers may stand.
Thank you. Sir, I'm next going to show you Exhibit 49, which is a video. I'm first going to have it played or put in front of you on your screen. If you can just let me know when you see the depiction on that screen.
I see it.
And you saw first couple seconds of that. Let me play it one more time and then ask you if you recognize that. Okay. I stopped it at 3 seconds. And do you recognize that area?
I do.
What is that area?
That's the corner right in front of People's Park where we were at the parade.
Okay. And you had said, is People's Park across from Steaming Cup?
Oh, sorry, Steaming Cup. Yeah, People's Park is directly across from Steaming Cup.
And that would have been the corner that you were located with your family?
At the Steaming Cup corner. Correct.
And do you see yourself depicted in this video?
I do.
Do you believe it accurately represents what you observed that day and what you did?
I do.
I would ask that Exhibit 49 be admitted into evidence and published to the jury.
For the record, how long is the video clip?
It is 8 seconds.
All right, thank you. Exhibit 49 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
Thank you.
Noted for the record, Your Honor.
It is.
Okay, if we can play it starting at 0, going through the entire 8 seconds. Thank you. And you stated that you did see yourself in that video?
I did.
Going to the initial screen of that video, which would be at 0 seconds. Oh, we can put it back up. Do you see yourself in, it's at 0 seconds, do you see yourself in this still frame?
Yes.
Can you circle, again, using the touch screen, where you are? And are you carrying Brindley?
I am.
Thank you. You can clear the screen. And next I would like to show just you Exhibit 50. And see if you recognize this intersection as it plays through for approximately 5 seconds. Do you recognize that as being the intersection you and your family were at?
Just forward of our location, yes.
So as you're looking at this, would it be, as you're looking at the screen, to the left?
Sustain this in the form of the question, if you would please rephrase.
Where would you and your family have been in relationship to this, where this video was taken?
To the left.
Okay. And the person taking the video, are they on the same side of the street as you are, or a different side?
Objection.
Overruled.
Looks to be the same side as our street.
Okay. And you just saw the dancing grannies go through?
Correct.
Does that accurately depict what you observed prior to the car coming through the parade?
Yes.
Okay. I would ask the court to admit Exhibit number 50 and ask that it be published for the jury.
Your objection is noted. Exhibit 50 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
So we're going to start at 0 and just go through the 11 seconds. And I'll ask you questions about the video if you may send it. Sir, is that the red SUV that you previously described as striking your daughter?
It is.
And that white vehicle that you saw in that frame, was that the vehicle that you saw that was impeding your ability to see it initially, or is that a different vehicle?
Objection, usually.
Overruled. You may answer.
I believe that was a different vehicle.
Okay. And was that the path of travel that you observed that vehicle take, which was on the north side, thank you, north side of the street.
It is.
And then after it passed that intersection, you indicated that it went towards the middle and into the Grannies?
It felt like that. Definitely.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, any questions for this witness?
Yes. Just 1 second. Do you remember what time it was when you observed the vehicle?
I don't recall the specific time I saw a red SUV. No.
You stated earlier that you saw the vehicle clip the corner. Would that be fair to say?
I saw it clip the corner of where the children were standing, correct.
And what do you mean by clip?
Come into contact with children that were in the front of that group of kids.
Is that how you would define clip?
That's my definition of clip, correct.
You stated also that it veered quickly away from, I'm guessing, that corner. What do you mean by veered quickly away?
The vehicle at one point was coming straight at us, and then the next moment it was heading 45 degrees back on the original route, so it quickly turned to get back onto the street. Otherwise it would have come onto the corner, onto that intersection at Clinton Street.
So it's fair to say if the vehicle did not quickly veer, as you say, it would have ran right into the people on the corner.
That's a fair statement, yes.
Is it also a fair statement to assume that the vehicle veered quickly away from that because it didn't want to strike the people on that corner?
Objection.
Grounds.
Speculation.
Grounds.
Sustained. Calls for speculation on the part of this witness. You do not have to answer.
In your opinion, why would the vehicle have quickly veered?
Objection. Again.
Grounds.
Speculation.
Grounds.
Sustained. Calls for speculation.
If you were driving the vehicle and were able at any time to see people directly in your path, would you veer away?
Objection. Relevance for this
Grounds.
trial.
Sustained.
And are the grounds for the sustain?
It's not relevant for this witness to answer that question. Calls for a hypothetical that he has not been qualified to answer. So it's also on foundation grounds.
Did you get a look at the driver of the vehicle?
I recall looking into the window, but my memory doesn't put a face to that or an image to that, so no.
Did you get the license plate number of the vehicle?
No.
You see any tents on the vehicle that you recall?
No, I was not paying attention to the vehicle after it came down barreling at the children. My eyes, tunnel vision to the kids.
So it'd be fair to say that with you focusing on the kids, it would be difficult to describe the vehicle at that point.
Outside of it obviously being a red SUV in my mind as I saw it come down, I couldn't recall any other details about the vehicle.
So it'd be fair to say the only thing you can recall about the vehicle was the color of it.
You may not call yourself a superhero, but you have many superpowers. The Joint Chiropractic can help ease your pain and keep you active. Visit today and get your first consultation exam.
that it was a red SUV, a larger vehicle.
So the color of it.
Correct.
You stated that you initially waited before you seek medical attention. Any reason why you would wait?
I walked through the variables earlier. The hospital was on lockdown. I'm familiar with hospital operations enough to know that the acuity for my daughter didn't warrant me taking resources from other victims. My wife's a provider, an urgent care nurse practitioner. I felt she would be in a better position 15, 20 minutes later to assess and handle that from there.
You stated you did the father thing, as you put it, and downplayed the significance of the injury. Any reason why you would downplay it?
I think my initial reaction was a little confusion of what was going on, and not seeing any bones sticking out or any blood. I immediately went into this sort of you're okay, meaning compared to everything else I'm seeing around us, you're in an okay position right now to get home. So I don't know if it was downplaying the injury per se, but it was more of just a triaging in my own mind of going, it's not that, it's okay.
It would be fair to say that the language you used was you downplayed the injury. Would
Correct.
that be fair to say?
Yep, that's correct.
After the vehicle passed you, did you observe anyone being struck?
No.
Before the vehicle approached, did you observe anyone being struck?
Yes.
You also stated that at one point, after you were observing the path of travel of the vehicle, that it felt like it was straightening up into the middle of the parade route. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
What do you mean by it felt that way?
Maybe in an incorrect term on my part. My recollection of the memory was that when it veered off, it went on and continued down the middle of Main Street.
So would it be fair to say that you really don't recall?
I certainly recall the vehicle heading back down Main Street, down the middle of Main Street.
I'm referring to you saying that it, what it felt like as opposed to what you recall it doing.
I used the incorrect term there. When I said felt, it was more of the word choice of recall I should have used.
And you stated that you would estimate the speed of the vehicle to be about 25 miles an hour?
I said 25 to 30 miles per hour.
So somewhere in between that?
Correct.
And you also stated that it was the vehicle was about 30 feet away from you?
When I first initially saw the video, the vehicle was 30 feet away. It was just on the other side of the vehicle, the large suburban vehicle.
So how could you come to the determination of the speed?
Because it was barreling right at us. So as it came around the vehicle, started coming towards us, it felt like 25 to 30 miles per hour, and then as it veered off, no brake lights, just veered off and continued right down Main Street at that rate of speed.
So it felt like that was the speed. Is the term you just used again, felt. It felt like it was going that speed.
This is the best time of the year to play World of Tanks.
Play for free and get tons of gifts.
So I'm using the term felt, and I am defining that as sort of a mental recollection or a gut feel. I'm not trained in assessing speed, so my gut feel, what I felt at that time, driving that street numerous times, is that it was going 25 to 30 miles per hour.
So would it be fair to say, based on what you just said, that you're not trained in speed analyzation, that would it be fair to say that you don't know exactly the speed of the vehicle?
Objection.
Grounds. That's based on what he
hold
said.
on, you asked multiple questions, so I'm going off of the very last question that you asked. And that is, would it be fair to say that you don't know the speed of the vehicle? To that question, the objection is overruled and the witness may answer.
Yes, without looking at a speedometer, I would have no way of knowing exactly how fast that vehicle was going.
Did you notice any damage to the vehicle at that point that it passed you?
I don't recall honing in on that level of detail on the vehicle, so I don't recall.
Do you recall if you may have seen anyone else present in the vehicle?
I don't recall.
Did you ever make any statements to law enforcement after the incident at any time?
My wife and I both shared information on behalf of the crash report and our findings, or our initial statement.
You recall if that was the same night of the incident or in the following days after?
That was the following days.
Do you recall if it was a few days after or maybe a week or two?